Hey guys, Kucha here with Exerscribe TV, and today I want to talk to you about what your daily habits are doing to your posture. So there's something known as Wolff's Law, and Wolff's Law talks about basically what your bad patterning does to your passive structure. So we'll talk about that in a second. But the idea is that, for example, like kickboxers, they will kick rigid objects over and over and over and over because Wolff's Law works actually in their advantage. That repetitive force and torque to their shin bones over and over actually causes it to build bone density up. So the bone density gets stronger and thicker and less chance of injury or bone breaking or fracturing. So if we think about your posture and your passive structures and the skeleton overall, you have these kinetic chain relationships. So, you have gravity really adding forces from the top down, and you have ground reaction forces acting from the top up. So you have kind of two mechanisms for forces that, if you have dysfunction, can really jack you up, and we'll talk about why. So if we look at these kinetic chain relationships from the ground up, for you to have proper and efficient movement, and not only efficient movement in terms of having good posture to prevent injury, but efficient movement in terms of being able to load properly. If I'm going to do a shoulder press, and if I don't have good, lumbar support or a stable lumbar spine, then I'm going to hyperextend at the lumbar when I'm standing up. And that's what I see a lot of people do, is they don't have good stability or good mobility in their shoulder. So the combination of the two leads to an extended lumbar spine. And that's not good, because not only are you going to cause a slip disc later on or a herniated disc, but what happens is you're limiting strength. You're telling the brain to turn on that governor chip to say, you know what, this is unsafe. The startle response for your brain is going to go up, saying, I need to limit my own strength to protect my own body. I'm going to protect the joints. So if we talk about each level from the ground up, your feet need to be stable. If your feet are stable, your ankles will allow mobility. So you have to have stable feet, mobile ankles. You need to have stable knees. You need to have mobile hips. You need to have a stable lumbar spine. Your lumbar actually should not have too much rotation. A lot of people have that confused, and they'll do these windmill things on the ground and scorpions and all kinds of stuff. You don't want to be doing that, because your lumbar spine from L1 to L4 should only have about 2.5 degrees of rotation at each vertebrae. From L5 to S1, you have the greatest degrees of freedom, and it's only 5 degrees. So you're talking about 15 degrees of total rotation from L1 to L5. You don't want to rotate the spine. Not in the lumbar spine. You want stability in the lumbar spine. When we get to the T-spine or the thoracic spine, that's a different story. So you have, essentially 12 vertebrae in the thoracic spine that you do want mobility from. So when I'm moving, I have to have mobility from here. From there, I want to have good stability in the shoulder blades, because those are floating. So I want to have, good anchoring to the spine. You want them to grab well with the rhomboids and the mid and lower traps. Glenohumeral joint, the shoulder, I need to have good mobility here. From there, I need to have good clavicular, so the clavicle right here needs to have good stability. And from there, I need to have a good mobile cervical spine, so the neck has to have good mobility. If you have good stability and mobility in all of these pieces up the kinetic chain, throughout this entire kinetic chain relationship, you will be efficient in your movement. You will have what's called movement efficiency. That, in essence, is the foundation for everything else. If you have good movement efficiency, you can load forces on top of that body optimally to build more lean muscle tissue, burn more fat. Your nervous system will actually be in a state of homeostasis to where it will be very stress tolerant, not just to your workouts, but to everything in life. So when you're in the state of stress tolerance, you'll be able to let go of more body fat instead of hanging on to it, because your nervous system is always tweaking out like it's in this threat mode or a fight or flight response. So just to clarify exactly what movement efficiency is about having balance dynamically, so through movement, like for example when I'm walking or lunging or whatever it may be, being able to have balance between tension and relaxation. Most of us, because our nervous systems are in this startle response all the time, because our brain is in this threat mode because we're at a desk all day and all these muscles and joints are too flexed and too tight. What happens is all the movement I do, I'm over tense. A lot of muscles are hypertonic as a result. So I don't move fluidly, and certain muscles don't activate correctly. And the target muscle groups, like girls want to activate their glutes, they don't even activate their glutes when they're doing lunges or when they're walking backwards on the step mill or whatever it may be. They're not getting the result of the exercise because their passive structures are not setting them up for success. So if you have movement efficiency, essentially you have balance between relaxation So being able to have kind of a relaxed core, even though you want to have good stability, being able to be relaxed so you can move fluidly. If you tried to walk really rigidly, with every muscle tense, you would basically be walking like a bodybuilder, really, because that's why bodybuilders are really rigid when they walk like a penguin, because all their muscles are very hypertonic and they usually don't get a good range of motion when they work out. So essentially, like I said, movement efficiency, you want to have a good balance dynamically when you're moving and doing movement-based exercise with both tension and relaxation. So there you have it. There's the kinetic relationship between all the joints in the body and why you need to have better movement efficiency. Thanks for tuning in today. See you next time on Exerscribe TV. See you soon.